The program will begin in 2 minutes. Please take your seat. Friends and partners, please welcome INHP President and CEO, Gina Miller.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome this morning. Thank you for joining Indianapolis Neighborhood Housing Partnership at our annual community breakfast. We're so grateful you've reserved time for us this morning to learn more about INHP's service to the Marion County residents and neighborhoods. I'm Gina Miller, and I'm excited to take the stage and introduce myself as President and CEO of INHP. I'm humbled to have this opportunity to lead INHP, a pillar in the Indianapolis community, since its inception 35 years ago, when community leaders and financial institutions came together to create a vision of partnership capable of producing meaningful, affordable housing outcomes for people with low and moderate incomes, those all too often shut out of homeownership opportunities. Even more humbling is following in the footsteps of Maura Karlstedt, after her 24 years of leadership, reflecting an unrelenting commitment to the families we serve above all else. For those who may be learning about INHP for the first time, we are 5 things. We're a 501c3 supporting organization of the City of Indianapolis and United Way of Central Indiana. We're a U.S. Department of Treasury Community Development Financial Institution, CDFI, operating as a nonprofit loan fund. We're a U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development certified housing counseling agency. We're a licensed mortgage lender regulated by the state of Indiana. And we're a community-based development organization recognized by the city of Indianapolis. You've chosen to engage with INHP at one of the most important times in a generation. Our vision is that every person in Indianapolis should have the opportunity to live in a safe, decent, and affordable home in a vibrant neighborhood. Yet we know the barriers for families have continued to grow and are increasingly complex in today's market. Fulfilling that vision takes an incredible team, community partners, and committed supporters. Over the last 8 months, I have worked to engage with as many of you as possible to help us think about INHP's strategies and priorities in the coming years as we grapple with increasing costs and constrained affordable housing supply in Indianapolis. Know that at the center of all our planning is the people, the parents who hope to have a backyard for their kids, the individual who's ready to own their first own place, the aging couple that desires a stable home in which they can grow old and enjoy their grandkids. Everyone wants to thrive in their own way and in their own place to call home. This is the story we're telling this morning, how INHP can be a catalyst for one home, one neighborhood, and one community. Before breakfast, there are a few people I'd like to introduce. First is Juan Gonzalez, Central Indiana President of Key Bank and Chairperson of INHP's Board of Directors. Welcome, Juan.
Good morning, buenos dias. That wasn't the music that I chose to walk in. I wanted Bad Bunny, but they didn't let me do it. So I gotta get my glasses on so I can read. Today I speak on behalf of a diverse group of community members from the non-for-profit, for-profit, and government companies who make up the board of directors of INHP. Board members are appointed by United Way of Central Indiana, the city of Indianapolis, or nominated from the community at large or contributors to the organization. Each of us understand our role, and we are so committed for the future of the organization. And I'm a proud advocate of INHP. But we couldn't do this without the sponsorships. Thank you for being here. You guys deserve a round of applause. So first, let me thank the table sponsors, which there are many here, so you'll see their names on the screens. There they are. I'm not gonna read all of them because I know you guys are hungry, so we'll keep moving. Then the brick and mortar sponsors are Barnes & Thornburg, Boss McKinney & Evans, Busey Bank, Cairn Institute Group, Citymark, Eastern Star Church, Fager Drinker Beetle and Reed, Fifth Third Bank, First Financial Bank, Forvis, Gelser Investment Management, Horizon Bank, Indiana Members Credit Union, LISC Indianapolis, PNC, Regions, the National Bank of Indianapolis, and Union Savings Bank. Thank you so much. Colonnade sponsors are AES Indiana, Ascension St. Vincent, CF Bank, Chase, Citizens Energy Group, First Merchants Bank, Huntington, Key Bank, and Strategic Capital Partners. Thank you so much. Today we have a very cool sponsor, the matching gift sponsors. That's something that you're gonna learn throughout the morning. So thank you, Nicole, for your sponsorship of First Internet Bank. And a special thank you to two presenting sponsors. One that you guys know very well, they've been a sponsor of INHP for multiple years, the Lilly Endowment. Thank you, Lilly Endowment. And we have a rookie presenting sponsors, which is very exciting, BMO Harris. So BMO Harris, as I mentioned, is in the first year as a presenting sponsor, and we want to recognize them for that. So let me welcome Mark Cougar to say a few words. He's a fellow board member and very involved with the community. Thank you, Mark.
He gets his own music and he writes my script. Thank you, Juan, and good morning, everybody. We have been a longtime supporter and financial supporter of INHP, and in fact, this year celebrated the 30th year of financial support. So, thank you. So, we're very pleased to continue that support and do the presenting sponsor of this community breakfast. And in addition to that financial support, the two areas that the bank partners with INHP on, financial education programs for first-time home buyers and financing for first-time home buyers. We're all in for a treat today because Edwin and his family, you'll hear that story. We were privy to that a few weeks ago. And that's the purpose of this breakfast, in my opinion, is to kind of celebrate the impact we're all in this room having on affordable housing. And when you see the story on Edwin and his family, you'll leave this room, I think, on a very high note. So on behalf of BMO and my colleagues that are here with me today, thank you, INHP, for the exceptional work you do in the community, and we are thrilled to be a part of that journey with you.
He doesn't follow directions. You know, I passed the page and he went on and on and on. And we know you guys are hungry, so we're gonna keep it moving. Anyway, your tables are copies of the INHP annual report, especially for you. Hopefully you guys will take it to your offices, to your houses, and read about the great programming that we do and the solutions we're presenting. But I wanna highlight two of them. The Homebuyer Education Program, where 1,276 households gain financial literacy and learn the process of buying a home. Or a brand new loan program, which is very exciting. It's called the Affordable Rate Exterior Appraisal, or AREA, for my Latino friends, AREA, refinancing, creating a non-traditional method of refinancing for people earning low or fixed incomes. So we're very excited about the opportunities that that's gonna create in the community. There's also solutions that increase housing supply in our community. In fact, INHP spurred the development of 590 affordable housing units in 2022, which is amazing. And also, you will see examples of INHP's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, evidenced in part by the $7.6 million invested in Marion County minority census tracts last year alone. $7.6 million, that's really cool. But as you know, these solutions are not possible without the partnership at work between this organization and people in this room. That is why I'm so proud to be part of this cultural partnership at INHP. And at this time, I'd like to welcome a great friend of INHP, a person that you guys are very familiar with. He runs the city of Indianapolis. He is our mayor. So Mayor Joe Hogsett, welcome to the stage.
Good morning, Indianapolis, and welcome to INHP's annual community breakfast. Thank you, Juan, for that kind introduction. As Gina mentioned a bit earlier, this is indeed an important time in the history for the development of affordable housing. Now, to be sure, it's an important time in a lot of ways, but the common thread is this: leaders and stakeholders have a transformative opportunity to unite our city in prosperity. That begins with everyone having a place to call home. INHP is a regular partner in the city's efforts, and vice versa. This past November, we announced East 38th Street as a Lift Indy neighborhood. What that means is that our city would put $3.5 million toward investment and housing opportunities in the East 38th Street corridor. Indeed. And we were joined by INHP, as well as other partners like UNEC, Cook Medical, Horizon Bank, Equity 1821, and more. Together, we're creating home ownership opportunities, affordable rentals, park improvements, economic independence for families on the northeast side. Much needed, overlooked, at times, dare I say, ignored. The time is now. But our combined efforts with INHP extend far beyond just one neighborhood. We're proud to support this organization's affordable housing efforts at the Colonial Bakery site through the Market Expander Home Loan Program and the Equitable Transit-Oriented Development Fund. So many different ways that we're partnering together for a better, more prosperous Indianapolis. And while we expect to announce the details later this year, I would be remiss if I didn't highlight INHP as an award winner of the city's Vacant to Vibrant program. This effort supports the transformation of land bank properties into affordable homes. Those homes will be sold to families earning less than 80% of area median income. There's more to come on that front, but suffice it to say that we are committed to prosperity for every Indianapolis resident. And that commitment comes at a historic moment of opportunity for lasting and positive change. So my thanks to INHP, my thanks to all of you present today who are partners and who contribute to INHP's cause. If I can speak on behalf of our entire city, I give you our city's thanks. And now, let's bring Gina back up.
Thank you, Mayor Hogsett. We know, as you do, that our community's strength and future opportunities are grounded in our shared commitment to support both the people of Marion County and the neighborhoods in which they choose to live. Thank you also to Juan and Mark for sharing more about your commitment to INHP and the sponsors listed on the back of your program. I would like to take a moment to recognize another distinguished leader from our board of directors, Al Smith, who is in the audience today. As a founding board member, Al has been a champion of INHP since its inception 35 years ago. Al's leadership, commitment, and institutional knowledge have been critical for this organization, always grounding us in the purpose and intent of our mission. Al, we're so grateful for your guiding voice at INHP for 35 years, and we celebrate you as you retire from J.P. Morgan. Please join me in thanking Al for his service to INHP and to our community. Now we turn our attention to the screens, where we will meet a very special family. It will help set the stage for the remainder of our program today. Let's all meet Edwin.
Where does opportunity live? Edwin, Emilda, and his family may know. His INHP story starts at La Plaza, where Edwin got connected after immigrating from Nicaragua with, as he said, a backpack full of dreams.
La Plaza helps to connect clients like Edwin to INHP by first they have to be enrolled in our economic mobility program, which we call the Latino Opportunity Center. This is a workforce development program that is funded through the Enhancing Opportunities Indianapolis grant. This program is special to work with individuals like Edwin who are very motivated to really get a head start in achieving their goals. Edwin had a dream of owning his own home in the United States.
El momento preciso para yo determinar comprar una casa fue cuando ya no cabíamos en el apartamento de mi familia. Era un apartamento muy pequeño de una recámara, infelices. Me lo sugirieron, lo de la plaza, me dieron la sugerencia de solicitar para renta porque en ese tiempo estaba sin trabajo.
A program called Rental Bridge, in which INHP provided Edwin with a 3-month rental stipend so he could find employment and not miss a rent payment while money was tight.
La primera impresión que tuve cuando él me lo comentó fue, ¿será posible? Pero cuando él me plantea todas las posibilidades que se pueden gracias a INHP y la plaza, creímos que nuestro sueño podía hacerse realidad.
Rental Bridge was the first of 3 INHP programs Edwin used. The second, Match Savings, was a special bank account where his savings were matched 3-to-1 and will be used for housing expenses. Third was Bridge to Home Ownership, a rent-to-own program. Edwin chose a house, INHP purchased it, and the family will lease it for 25 months. 60% of his rent will be reserved each month, and INHP will offer the reserve back to Edwin as his down payment if he chooses to buy the home.
Bridge to homeownership, match savings account, and rental bridge are incredibly important to La Plaza clients in many different ways. You never know when you're gonna lose employment or you're gonna have a family emergency where you need to tap into funds to cover the cost for housing. And so we're very fortunate to have the resources through INHP to offer to our clients.
INHP nos abrió la puerta para ilusionarnos, para creer que todo es posible, para que mi familia, mis hijos pudieran gozar de un derecho a vivir en una casa.
La Plaza is one of 6 community partners that INHP works with to create housing solutions where opportunity can thrive.
Todos los clientes, casi todos los clientes que servimos en la plaza, dejan su país que han conocido toda su vida y establecen una vida nueva aquí en Indiana, empezando de cero. Tengo emoción porque esa es la realidad que yo personalmente también enfrenté, la realidad de muchos y vienen aquí porque quieren el sueño americano, para que ellos tengan un lugar que ellos puedan llamar ellos mismos y no estar siguiendo y yendo de apartamento a apartamento, a rentar casa a casa. Ellos quieren estar en un lugar estable para que ellos puedan crecer una familia y puedan tener algo que dejarle a sus familias para el futuro. Y la plaza está muy afortunada de poder ser una de las organizaciones que trabaja con INHP.
Edwin's story is proof that opportunity lives and thrives in a stable and affordable place to call home.
¿Cuál es tu parte favorita de la casa?
Mi favorita es la tele.
Ah, ver tele. En living room.
La amo, mi casa. La posibilidad de trabajar con la plaza y tener una casa, ahora se nos ha ampliado la visión, donde tenemos la oportunidad de poder crecer, nuestros hijos, ir a la escuela, posterior a la universidad, mi esposa y yo, incursionarnos a un negocio, porque dentro de la plaza nosotros estuvimos en un programa de microempresas y eso nos ayudó a tener metas y visiones para poder tener un negocio en este país, que es un país muy próspero y muy bendecido, y un país de oportunidades. Ha sido maravilloso para nosotros.
Sí, ha sido un sueño hecho realidad de muchos años.
Edwin, I'm so touched by your story. Will you and your family please stand and be recognized? Thank you. When I joined INHP last September, on my first day in the office, one of my colleagues came in and said, "How would you like to buy a home for a family today on your first day?" That was Edwin's home. Little did I know what my little signature on those closing papers meant for Edwin and his family. Edwin, may all of your family's dreams be realized as you make this house your home. Edwin's journey is a precursor to the program being presented after breakfast. From Edwin's home, we will journey from micro to macro as we see INHP's impact in the community. And because home is where it all begins, we're setting a goal this morning to raise funds that will support the $165,000 subsidy needed to build and sell our next affordable home. At certain points throughout the presentation, we will have opportunities for you to support this goal, and we will be tracking donations through the visual that you see on the screens. Thanks to today's corporate sponsors, we're off to a running start at 75% to goal. Thank you. For the first time at Community Breakfast, we also have a matching gift, thanks to the generous support of First Internet Bank. We'll share more later in the program. To donate, you can find the QR code on your program card or here on the screen. Or you're welcome to provide a check or cash donation at the table in the back of the ballroom. Giving is completely voluntary, but we hope you'll be inspired by the people and neighborhoods you hear from today. The meaning of home is personal to me, and that's why I'm here today. I hope you find something in today's program that's meaningful for you. As we begin breakfast, please join me in a moment of silence so each of us can reflect on our own faith and its place in our time together here today. Enjoy breakfast.
We now return to this morning's program. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks again for being here with us. I'm Brandy Davis Handy, and it is my sincere pleasure to moderate this morning's very important presentation. This presentation is a journey from the micro level to the macro level. It's a progression in which INHP will demonstrate how it works with individuals and families, neighborhoods and communities, and legislators and advocates. And there are three parts of this journey. At the micro level, we'll look at INHP's solutions, helping individuals and families create stability through affordable housing. Then we'll move outward to highlight INHP's most critical asset, its partners, in the neighborhoods that we all call home. And then two of INHP's partners are with us on stage to share the impact of INHP offerings and their respective neighborhoods. And finally, we're going to broaden the perspective to the macro level view. And we'll hear from one of INHP's national partners to hear how they work to advocate for improving and advancing housing solutions for the Indianapolis community and nationwide. And then, as we mentioned before breakfast, we hope that you will be inspired to make a donation. And whether you've been a longtime donor to INHP or learning about us for the very first time this morning, our goal is to inspire you to support this great organization's mission. Now, our objective is to raise enough funding necessary to build and sell one single-family home that is affordable for a family with low and moderate income. And in today's market, that's about $165,000 of subsidy per home. And think, INHP supported the development and construction of 12 homes in 2022. And so, and a lot of that was possible with the contributions of many of you in this room today. And if we're able to meet today's goal, we'll be able to build another one here in 2023. And it was mentioned this morning, you can find that QR code at the program cards at your table. It's also on the screen behind me. Please go ahead and scan and donate. If you want to pay with cash or check today, there is a table located at the back of the ballroom. And so during the presentation, this thermometer that's right here on the screen, we heard already that we're at 75% to goal thanks to those great sponsors who always continue to support us. We want to feel this image before the end of the breakfast. So I invite you all right now to join me as we go on this housing journey together from the micro to the macro level. And we're going to begin here with some very familiar faces. And joining us are Julia Melendez, Program Liaison for the Rental Bridge Program, and a HUD Certified Homeownership Advisor. And Lori Joan is INHP's Director of Homeowner Development. And we want to go ahead and delve into the solutions addressing housing stability for individuals and families. And we're going to pick up where we left off in Edwin and Emilda's story. And Lori, I would like to go ahead and start with you. We know that there's 3 programs that INHP recently introduced through the Enhancing Opportunity in Indianapolis initiative, and that was made possible through the generous support of the Lilly Endowment. Now, these programs are, and it was mentioned in the video, the Rental Bridge, Match Savings, and Bridge to Home Ownership. You know, Lori, I'd like to start with, tell us more about the creation of these unique offerings.
Sure, thank you, Brandy. We all know that stable housing is fundamental when it comes to increasing economic mobility, and for 35 years now, INHP has been privileged to serve families in Indianapolis, Marion County, with their housing needs. So when we were presented with this opportunity, we knew we didn't want to take the lead on this. We wanted to take what we had in place already, and we do pretty well with our HUD counseling. And so we wanted to support our partners. And they already have the economic mobility program, so we were just a support system to them. And so this is how it was created.
Great. Julia, the next question is for you. How do the Enhancing Opportunity programs complement the programs that INHP is already known for? And those are like the one-on-one advising and the homeowner education courses.
Yes. So prior to me being a program liaison, I'm a HUD certified counselor. So we're using these same skills that we use for our advising clients and passing that right along to our clients who are engaged in the Enhancing Opportunity programs. So these clients will have the opportunity to take advantage of our free classes, such as dollars and cents, successful renting, and understanding credit. And of course, for the clients who are enrolled in the Bridge to Home Ownership, the ultimate goal is to be a homeowner. So our program liaison will work with them one-on-one. They'll be able to take the home buyer education class, which is HUD approved. They'll be working on their budgets. and also making sure that they're in line for those 24 months credit-wise.
Let's talk a little bit more about Edwin's incredible story. And at the heart of his goal was to make space for his family, which I think is what all of us want to do. What's next for Edwin after he completes the Bridge to Homeownership rent-to-own program? What are the next steps?
Yeah, so the next steps for Edwin is he'll be meeting one-on-one with a loan officer from INHP. They're going to go over what his lending options are. And ultimately, it's going to be Edwin's choice. Whatever he feels is more beneficial for him and his family, he can move forward with. We have full confidence that Edwin will complete our program as well. And we also, the wonderful thing about this, and I want to add too, is he will retain equity from his home. So he'll be able to have that legacy for his children as well. And INHP, we're right behind him. Edwin, tienes todo el apoyo de INHP.
And Lori, what helps people like Edwin stay engaged with programs like INHP in today's housing market?
Yes, we all are very well aware of the housing market and how it's kind of changed a little bit over the past few years. And just like with all of our clients in our homeowner development program, Edwin stays motivated. He is a fireball. He gets us going. And we are so thrilled with that. And as long as he has that enthusiasm and motivation, Edwin, we got you. Okay? Also worth noting is that Edwin may never have connected with INHP had it not been for our partnership with La Plaza. That is why it's so critical for us to not only create but also maintain our community partnerships so that we can bring our education classes and our other programs to our partners.
Right. Well, I want to thank both of you for joining us this morning, and I want to remind all of you that Edwin is one of more than 900 families who are active in INHP's Homeowner Development Department right now to find the right home opportunity to create more stability for themselves and affordable housing. And if you're inspired by what you have learned about Edwin's housing journey, know that a donation today will help one of thousands of individuals and families find the same success that Edwin and his family found. A stable place to raise children, nurture dreams, and build even more opportunity. And with that, this is a good time for us to go ahead and check our thermometer and see where we are at. We started at 75%. All right, 85%. Let's keep going. And so now we're going to broaden to the neighborhood level view. And joining me are two partner representatives who are actively working to produce affordable housing with INHP, housing like the one that we are raising funding for today. And on stage with me, we have Amina Pearson from the Martindale-Brightwood Community Development Corporation and Joe Bowling from Inglewood Community Development Corporation. Thank you both for being here this morning. And Amina, I want to start with you. And how is Martindale-Brightwood managing the demand for housing, and how does that leverage INHP's resources amongst other initiatives that are out there?
Thank you. The demand for housing is huge. And when we think about the lack of housing stock and what we've seen in the community is an increase in market rate and higher price homes. And actually, some neighborhoods even more, like Martindale-Brightwood, within the last 20 years, before last year, it had been about 20 years since the first affordable home was built. So we managed the demand carefully and from a holistic approach. Our team is very intentional about listening to the people who live and work in Martindale-Brightwood so we know what they need. We want to make sure that we preserve the history and the culture of a lot of neighborhoods as we provide the housing that they need. And it's big. We can't do it alone, so we definitely need partners. We work with many organizations, and what I've seen from INHP, they have the foresight and the understanding that as a nonprofit, it's our job to drive and deliver affordable housing in the communities that we serve. Through INHP, they also understand that organizations like CDCs, we need funding for the behind the scenes part. You know, we get grants for construction and things like that, but from the Indy grant that INHP has and through the new experiential learning grant, Martindale Brightwood CDC has been able to hire staff and train staff, and we can say that we're able to compete and to win other grants to do our construction. So partnerships like INHP help us to thrive and to grow.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Joe, similar to Martindale Brightwood, Inglewood has utilized a number of the community loans and grants through INHP, and that's spurred a lot of development. Can you talk to me a little bit more about the resources that have worked best within your community?
Yeah, certainly. Well, at Inglewood, we try to be pretty comprehensive in our approach to community, so our partnership with INHP certainly reflects that. We've been extended a line of credit, which allows us to cash flow various affordable housing expenses. We utilize pre-development funding, sometimes to purchase property or to pay an architect. And INHP has offered construction lending during construction and even long-term financing for several of our affordable housing developments. You know, we feel like we've been very well served by INHP at every stage of the affordable housing creation process, and that has allowed us to serve more vulnerable populations, which keeps us closer to our mission than working with a traditional bank that sometimes maybe can't get comfortable serving the populations that we serve. So we're very excited.
Now, Joe, let's talk about INHP's Land Bank, which is also known as the Equitable Transit-Oriented Development Program. And I understand that the neighborhood will soon experience the opening of Passage Apartments, which is an affordable multifamily development. Share a little bit more about the development and how INHP has been engaged.
We are so excited about Passage Apartments. This is a beautiful, brand new 38-unit building being constructed right now at 50 South Shelby Street on a highly coveted 1-acre piece of property that we bought through the ETOD fund. If you're departing downtown going east, swing by 50 South Shelby Street and see the building under construction. Honk at the construction workers, they love that. But it's a wonderful building. 25% of the apartments in that development will serve persons or families with an intellectual or a developmental disability. This is a population that's criminally underserved with housing, and so we're so glad to serve those folks. Our friends at Noble of Indiana will have a career center on the first floor commercial space of that building to better serve them and careers. To better serve them with employment in downtown Indianapolis with some of their partners, and everyone that lives in the building will be at 60% of area median income and below. This building has beautiful views of the downtown skyline. It's a block south of the East Washington Street bus line and the proposed Blue Line bus rapid transit corridor, and just a couple of blocks from downtown Indianapolis and all that downtown Indianapolis has to offer. And we'd like to make that available to low-income families and to persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
And while Passage is a great success story, you know, Amina, we know that barriers still exist as it relates to affordable housing that require a lot of partnership and collaboration. Can you talk to me about that a little bit more?
Absolutely. Barriers, there's so many, but there are three significant ones that really come to mind. And I'm going to start with how we define affordable housing. For so long, people looked at affordable housing as subpar, low quality, for low income. And we need to redefine or reimagine, if you will. Affordable housing should be safe, quality housing at an attainable cost. We want curbside appeal just like any other neighborhood. So we need to change how we think about that, and I think that will go towards changing the funding that goes towards it. And speaking of funding, that's another barrier. Funding is needed on both sides. The builder and the buyer both need subsidy. When you think about how the cost to build a house has increased, it scares a lot of builders. Are they going to get a good return on their investment? So they need subsidy to build, and then once the home is built, a lot of our homeowners, especially the income level that we're talking about for the neighborhoods that we serve, they may need subsidy for down payment. And I realize that the federal government, local, and some corporations have set aside funding for subsidy, but then there's the training of how to access it. We have lots of builders and lots of potential homeowners who don't know where to go. So through organizations like INHP and what we're doing, and I'm sure what Joe is doing, is providing the education. We're providing education to builders and to homeowners. We actually have a young lady who's completed our financial literacy program. She signed up for the individual development account, which someone spoke about earlier, for saving, and she's referred to INHP, and she's receiving housing counseling, so she'll be ready to purchase a home soon. So it really works in a circle with us working together to be alongside people to help them navigate the barriers of getting a home.
Great. Well, I want to thank you on behalf of INHP first for being here with us this morning, but also for the incredible work that you're both doing in your communities. Thank you so much. And I want to emphasize the fact that creating affordable housing is not an independent effort. I think that we've just established that by these stories. It involves the skills and talents of many, and it requires a shared vision. And just like we leverage partnerships to address the need for affordable housing, we've leveraged the support from one of our very important sponsors. And First Internet Bank has generously agreed to match each gift from all of you here this morning in attendance. So if you share in the vision of partnerships, we invite you to make a gift right now, which will be matched dollar for dollar up to $20,000. So if you could once again join me in just thanking First Internet Bank for their generosity. And again, I mentioned that you've got your program card at your table, so please scan that QR code. We flashed it a couple times on the screen. There is a table at the back of the room. Any amount that you can donate, we thank you for that today. So we're gonna go ahead and check the thermometer once again. Last time we checked, we were at 85%, 91%. Thank you. Thank you so much for your generosity. Now we are moving on to our broadest context. We've gone from the individual solutions to neighborhood solutions, and now we're entering into the policy arena that surrounds affordable housing. Joining us is from INHP, Rob Evans. And Rob, I know that you recently got a new title. Congratulations. Rob is now the Executive Vice President of Government and Community Affairs. And with Rob is Elizabeth Coates. Elizabeth is the Director of Homeownership Alliance at the National Community Stabilization Trust. Your organization is based in Washington, D.C., and in your role, you coordinate with practitioners such as INHP to advance affordable homeownership topics in the halls of Congress. Thank you both for joining us this morning. And Rob, I want to start with you with the first question. INHP had several opportunities to testify on the state and national level about affordable housing and homeownership issues. Why does INHP find policy and advocacy relevant to its mission of serving families and neighborhoods?
Well, the pathway to homeownership is really difficult to navigate today, and I visualize it like a hiking path. And you start off on the path, it's really clear and easy to navigate. And then at some point you get to a section of that path and it's completely covered in brush, making it difficult, if not impossible, to navigate. And that's what the path to homeownership looks like today for families of low to moderate income. The brush covering that trail is the current market conditions that those families are facing. The median sale price in Marion County in April was $235,000. That's an 8.2% increase just from January. The number of active listings and affordable price point continue to be near historic lows. The cost to build a new home continues to increase, making it ever more challenging to develop a home that's affordable. Mortgage interest rates have more than doubled since January of 2022. Inflation continues to be high. The homeownership rate for Black households is nearly 30% lower than the homeownership rate for white households. And if you're a Black applicant for a mortgage loan to purchase a home, you're nearly twice as likely to be denied. That's some of the brush, not all, but some of the brush covering the pathway to homeownership for families today. Advocacy is just one of the ways that we can lend our voice to finding solutions to start to clear away some of that brush from the pathway.
Great. Now, Elizabeth, let's talk about how does improved access to affordable homeownership impact residents and neighborhoods?
Well, where someone lives impacts their quality of life, and homeowners are able to generate wealth, and a household's wealth then translates into the health of the surrounding community. But as Rob had mentioned, wealth outcomes across different populations are not equally disseminated. The median wealth for white households across the nation, $188,200. For a black household, $24,100. And Hispanic households, $36,200. And we can see that that's both a cause and effect of this near 30% percentage point between white homeownership rates and black homeownership rates. So it's very important for us as practitioners and as community leaders to raise these concerns paired with recommendations that are evidence-based and built by the community to all levels of government and the halls of power.
So, Rob, what kind of changes is INHP advocating for right now as it relates to individuals and families with a low and moderate income?
Most of the things that we would advocate for, I think, fall into probably three main categories. The first is, I call it more financial resources for affordable housing. So that could be tax credits, loan funds, grants, appropriations, could be at the federal, state, or local level. Second would be real estate tax or assessed valuation relief. With home values increasing significantly over the past 3 years, it's making it increasingly difficult for low-income homeowners to be able to afford their real estate tax obligations. The last category would be what we call consumer protection or maybe informed consumers, or any kind of legislation that helps provide consumer protections or maybe promotes informed consumers for large financial transactions such as homeownership. Sometimes we find ourselves advocating for or against proposed legislation, and I want to stop for a moment and recognize that Senator Todd Young has recently introduced two very important affordable housing pieces of legislation in the Senate, the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act and the Affordable Housing Credit Improvement Act. Very important legislation. You all should learn a little bit about those and put your voice into the game. And sometimes we're advocating for regulatory reforms or reforms to the regulations of existing programs where those regulations and those programs aren't necessarily meeting the needs of the conditions on the ground. And that's actually one of the areas where our partnership with Homeownership Alliance has paid big dividends. It's through our partnership as a member of the steering committee that INHP has gained access to agency staff. And we've been able to have substantive conversations as a part of that collaborative and as practitioners with the agency staff, making recommendations for regulation modification, again, to meet the needs of the conditions on the ground and to really start, again, pulling away some of the brush from that pathway to homeownership.
Great. Elizabeth, from your vantage point, how does INHP fit into the national landscape as it relates to policy and advocacy?
INHP really is a model organization as a member of the Homeownership Alliance. They make their priorities very clear to any elected official or agency administrative that they are able to speak with. And what I always tell folks is the key to advocacy is to make your priorities the priorities of your elected officials. And again, we see that example in Senator Young now. He has really become an affordable housing champion in the United States Senate through particularly the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act. We are so eager to continue our advocacy in partnership with his office. Thanks so much to the Indiana communities. You all have been able to filter that information up to Senator Young's office so that then that becomes a priority of his as well. The Homeownership Alliance really seeks to have a constituent organization connect as often and as closely as possible to the real decision makers, again, across all levels of government. Through that discussion and through that sharing of community stories and how it is that these programs are able to operate, we are really able to influence and craft true and robust policy change.
I want to thank you both for joining us this morning. I think that you've demonstrated that the work that INHP is doing is not only making an impact here locally, but also nationally. So thank you so much for being here. And just a reminder, as you think about some of the stories that we've heard, neighborhoods like Martindale, Brightwood, and Inglewood, and families like Edwin and so many more are facing an affordable housing crisis that requires full recognition from our legislators. With public-private action, solutions are made possible. And your support here this morning is going to get us so closer to that large vision. And we're getting ready to check the thermometer one last time, but before we do that, of course, you've got time to, I keep talking about the program card. You can pull that program card out and scan the QR code. But let's take before we take that final look, I have one special announcement for you today. Everyone who gives at the community breakfast this morning or in the coming days will receive an invitation to tour and explore one of INHP's new affordable homes that's part of the Bridge to Homeownership program. And that home will be ready this fall, and more information will be sent closer to its completion. give, and some of you can come see your generosity in action. And we can celebrate you and the impact that we're all making together to help enable our neighbors and neighborhood to thrive. And if you aren't able to give this morning but would like to give later, there will be opportunities after this breakfast so you can continue to take advantage of today's match. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a look and see where we are. The QR code's up there, but let's go ahead and take a look at where we are with the thermometer. Okay, let's give it 94%. I'm the last thing between us leaving these doors, and so we still have time to scan that code, go to the table. And I'm told there will be an email that will go out following this, so no pressure. And look around your tables, look around the room, who's not here. The mission and the work that INHP is doing is so important to so many people. So let's share the stories that we heard today broadly. I know that we're going to get to 100%, but 94%, let's go ahead and applaud. And I also want us to give a final round of applause for all of our speakers today, Julia and Lori, Amina and Joe and Rob and Elizabeth. Thank you all for joining us and for sharing in your stories. From the micro level to the macro level, the solutions that INHP offers in collaboration with so many of you, our partners, is making a difference. One home, one neighborhood, one community at a time. We thank everyone who has helped us build our affordable home today, and thank you to Edwin and his family for helping to tell their very important story. We especially thank our presenting sponsor, Lilly Endowment and BMO, for your support of this event. Thank you. And thank you again to First Internet Bank for your match, and all of today's sponsors for being here with us today. As you leave, I'd like you to remember, you are now a part of a journey from micro to macro, and we have more to celebrate again this fall, and hopefully we'll have more to celebrate by the end of today when we get to 100%. But with that, thank you all again for your support, for being here. Let's share the messages that we heard today. I hope you have a safe Friday and a great weekend. Thanks for being here.